You ready to go?
So good.
All rise. Benton County Commission meeting now in order.
The invitation tonight will be given by Commissioner Hicks.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight, we just thank you for the many blessings you receive. Lord, we just ask that you be with each and every one that is here tonight. Lord, give us traveling mercies on the way home. Lord, we just ask that the county business tonight is done pleasing to you, Lord. We say a special prayer, Lord, for all those sick and hurting, Lord, and the ones that's lost loved ones. Lord, we just pray that you lead, guide, and direct us in everything we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
The pledge will be led by Officer Netterfield tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Before we started, I was just gonna ask, last month, whenever we adjourned, some people were taking their tablets off before she said adjourn. So on our screen, it makes it look like you were absent at the very last, roll call. So if you wait till she says adjourn, and then, where we've got our first and second, and then have it off. But there were several of you that it makes it look like that you wasn't here, but you were. So we had it corrected in the minutes to let them know that you were here. Thank you.
Okay, roll call now, please.
Angie Hearn,
Here.
Don Patton, Ward Plant,
Here.
Dana Ferguson,
Here.
Kenneth Miller,
Here.
Rocky Preston,
Present.
Talia Dye,
Here.
Norman Frazier,
Here.
Gary Clark,
Here.
Dwayne Fowler,
Here.
Sonny Hall,
Here.
Bill Melton,
Here.
Rochelle Hill,
Rochelle's sick, she won't be here tonight.
Mike Nunnery,
Here.
Roseanne Ward,
Present.
Darrell Hicks,
Here.
Ronnie Hopper, Ronnie Hopper, can you hear me?
He told me earlier.
Ronnie, if you're on mute, can you take it off and hear us? And roll call? Mary Powers, here.
Ms. Roseanne, will you press present on your?
We have 15 present and 3 absent. We have one. You got
Rochelle.
Rochelle.
That's fine.
I'm Rochelle. What do you say? I'm sorry. Rochelle Hill and Ronnie Hopper are absent.
Everybody else is here.
Did I say that? I'm sorry. It's okay. I was hoping she. It was, we got everybody on.
Have you not?
Yes.
It said 3, I know that I waited.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. We have a motion by Commissioner Melton and seconded by Commissioner Ferguson. All in favor? Vote aye.
Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Rocky Preston,
Yes.
Roger Preston, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Norman Fraser, yes. Gary Fur, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? That's 16 yes.
Next on the agenda is the Citizens Forum. Tonight we have Richard French with Cary Counseling. Come forward, please.
Good evening. I appreciate y'all having me to come speak to you. I will try to be brief. I know that y'all would like to get on to other business and get home at a reasonable time. I am Richard French from Cary Counseling Center, and I suspect many times when folks come before you, they're coming here to ask for some type of assistance from the county or funding from the county for something. Not asking for anything other than that you all help us spread the word, that we've got a couple of services to try to help the citizens of Benton County and surrounding county that help them get through some difficult issues. As you all well know, even prior to COVID, stress and anxiety is very difficult for individuals to deal with. And then when you layer COVID on top of it, it gets overwhelming for folks. And many times, unfortunately, individuals dealing with these things don't have the financial resources to be able to get the help that they need. We've got a relatively new program called Children's Behavioral Health Safety Net, that if individuals qualify that, they get the services covered for them. And the qualifications from a financial perspective are pretty simple. It's not based on what their family income, household income is. It's not based on the fact that they have no insurance. It basically only is limited by if they do have benefits under the health insurance plan to cover behavioral health benefits. But if they've exhausted those, even if they're applying for TennCare and have not gotten approved yet for TennCare and they're waiting to hear, their services can be covered. Those services involve therapy, they involve psychiatric services, they involve case management, and even transportation if we all ever get back into a world where we're coming into the facility with services. Right now we're doing services through telehealth, and so we're able to reach out to folks through that means. But we've got a lot of services we can help individuals for. Sadly, the word's not getting out there. We're not getting to those people to let them know we can get them covered for services and them not have a financial burden as a result of that. So we appreciate your efforts in having us today and to be able to get the word out on that. I also will tell you about a second service, and that's basically the same thing on the adult side. We have an adult behavioral health safety net program, and again, provides those same services of therapy, med services, case management, transportation, and if a person qualifies on that, the services don't cost them anything. The qualifications for that are a little bit different, but not substantially different on that. The best way for folks, if they have an interest in that, have a need, the best way for them to access those services is to call our Access Center. And that number is 800-611-7757. So again, for either adult or children's safety net services, 800-611-7757. Now, we certainly want to get this word out to folks in Benton County, but we have this for Benton, Carroll, Gibson, Henry, Lake, Obion, and Weakley counties. So if you talk with any of your colleagues in other counties, please pass that word along to them as well. But again, thank you so much for your time. Any questions from the commission?
I have a question. What means are y'all using now to get the word out?
We have gone into the schools, we've gone into the churches, we've connected with local medical staff, pediatricians, things of that nature, and provided them with pamphlets and information, and trying to get the word out through that. Welcome any additional suggestions?
Hey, Richard, a
Yes.
lot of times I'll get calls, as you know, I'll liaison a lot of times to your office. If you can explain if some people have insurance, no insurance, TennCare, Medicare, or private insurance, none at all. Can you kind of give a guidelines
Sure.
of how that works with your care?
Sure. We certainly take TennCare. TennCare is probably our biggest funder. We have a lot of activity for individuals that have TennCare. We accept Medicare as well. geriatric population in this area. We have a lot of folks coming to us with Medicare as the payer. We do take private insurance. We're involved in the panel of many companies that have private insurance. Recognizing that you can exhaust your benefits under private insurance. Someday there's supposed to be parity between physical health and behavioral health, but we're not there yet. And so if you have exhausted your benefits under private health insurance, then these programs kick in to help with that. And then if a person has absolutely no resources whatsoever, we're one of the few community mental health centers in the state that still operates on a sliding fee scale. Basically, we look at household income, number of people, individuals in the house, and a person can qualify to see our psychiatrist, for example, for as low as $15 a visit. So we try to match up the ability to provide services to the individuals, regardless of what their income situation is. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, it's excellent, because we're live on Facebook, you know, and so that's important for
Yes.
the audience to hear, because I get that question all the time, and I rattle it to y'all.
I appreciate that.
Could you give an example of, say, a severe case? Is there sometimes you take them and have to board them or whatnot?
Sure. We also operate a 24/7 crisis program, and it's a mobile program. So if a person presents at the emergency room, if they present at the jail, if they present out in the community, then first we need to have a safe environment. But assuming that we've got a safe environment, and many times law enforcement helps us with that safe environment situation, then our crisis team will evaluate the person and determine whether or not they are a risk to themselves or other. And if they meet that state criteria for commitment, we will assist them in getting the hospitalization care that they might need. We also, in addition to that, have residential services. It doesn't have to be someone coming out of the hospital, but many times it is. We have 4 different group homes here in Benton County at Harrington Place. We've got a 27-bed facility there of working people that have both physical and behavioral health problems. We have a 9-bedroom group home on Madison Street here in Camden. So 2 of our 4 locations are here in Benton County. We have a 15-bed in Carroll County, and then another 9-bed in Gibson County. So we have residential services to work with individuals as well. We also have a lot of independent living houses. Our goal is to help people graduate up. We love to see it when they can improve and advance to the next level. And so as they graduate out of our residential over to the independent living housing, maybe a house just in the community that is just like any other house. But the individual living there may be dealing with some behavioral health problems, may be low income, and we both assist with their rental assistance, sending case managers in to help them function in the community, things of that nature. Did that answer your question?
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Other questions? Okay. Thank you again for your time. I know y'all got a lot to get together, and appreciate your effort on this.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Mr. French. And next on the agenda is the Commissioners' Forum. And I have a couple of announcements I want to make before we go any further. Next month, in April, we're going to have an executive meeting at 5. So we'll all meet in here at 5 o'clock and open the meeting, and then we'll go over to the small courtroom for the executive meeting with the attorney. And the next announcement is that next month we also get to go back in full session. So that's going to be good. Okay, that's all I have to say. Do we have any other commissioner that would like to say anything? Okay, then we're going to move right on to the county mayor and the attorney.
Ms. Roseanne,
Yes?
I just would like to know why we're not rotating districts when we're calling. I was first last month, and it should be a rotation of districts.
I can't answer that for you. Wanda probably can. Why she's not rotating the districts when we vote, is that what you're asking?
Yes, ma'am.
It's literally how the computer just randomly put people's names. It's not going by district. But if that is an issue, we will address it and we'll readjust people's names in the system.
Did you hear that, Angie? It's because of the computer system we have that puts the names in randomly. But Scott said that if that's an issue with anybody and we want to change it, he will try to change it.
Well, it has always been on a rotating schedule, and I don't believe that first district should have to vote first every time.
I do understand that, but I think it changed when we went on this computer. So
I would like it changed. Nobody else would. My name will be first every single time.
We'll check it.
Okay, we'll see about changing that for you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Where's Gene? Gene, come up here. I'm gonna put you on the spot. At the end of last week, we had a really monumental milestone, I believe, with county government, and that was Gene Rush's 40th year of working for Benton County. And I believe that is significant enough to recognize her and her service to Benton County. I have filed a proclamation for the record. I know we still owe you a lunch out, and we can all get together. And got her a bouquet of flowers, and we've got some other things planned for you. But I am going to submit a proclamation for your service for 40 years, because I do believe that is quite an accomplishment for anyone to work anywhere for 40 years. And so, but just you've worked under 6 different county mayors. I know I'm your favorite. You don't have to tell everybody that. But again, I do believe she deserves special recognition, and I do believe we should give her a round of applause for her. I think Karen had 42 years or something like that, or you know that. And so I expect you to be around a long time.
Did you take your mask off? You can. You take your mask off. You're not sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You can speak, I don't know if you...
Gene, I got a picture of you on the wall down there. You probably the only one in this county that's ever served 40 years.
No, Sharon retired with 42.
Did she?
But I just want to say I feel very blessed that I've been able to keep this job this long, and I hope I get to stay around a lot more.
Gene, thank you for what you
You're
do.
going to be around. And everybody knows Jean. I mean, she runs her position very sternly. And at first, you know, I'm a computer guy, right? You know, I'll come in with spreadsheets, but Jean has a system and a method, and it's trustworthy, and she has taught auditors with numbers, and has corrected the state comptroller and everybody. She has got her records down to a T, so you know, she sets a high bar, and we really are appreciative of all you do, you know, for the mayor's office and for Benton County, and I just definitely wanted to give you special recognition.
Thank you.
Also want to make a note that, you know, this past week we went to 1 year anniversary of what we call the COVID emergency declaration, and we all know our lives changed forever as of last March 12th, when the president and the governor became established states of emergency due to COVID. I know the schools are represented here tonight. I imagine y'all could probably write a book this thick on the way it has impacted our school system, the students who have to learn, but it's also impacted us, and it's all impacted all of our citizens. Today we've got 39 fatalities due to this virus in Benton County, and I just want us not forget this, you know, and we're starting to unload a little bit and get back into a little bit of normality, but we've got 39 impacted families in Benton County so far. Just keep them in your thoughts and your prayers. Today is our tourism director, Susan Knowles' first official day of being a county employee, so welcome, Susan, to the Benton County family. I know we've got Judge Summers in the audience as well, and next month he is going to give us an audit report, a report from the audit committee, so we look forward to that, and he'll go over the findings and how we pretty much scored and corrected all of our deficiencies. I will say that everyone should have we had a last minute add-on with a resolution that was passed back in 2010, believe it or not. As you know, we have been looking at our severance taxes for about a year and a half now. I've got one for you, Dana. So this is just a continuation of the process that we have uncovered, where the gaps and the loopholes of why are things not being reported as we were expecting them, why we have some people maybe filing exempt, whatever it is, we just keep uncovering where the loophole was. So we found back in 2010 where the resolution was actually passed, but never actually processed to the state. Donna Barrett may be on the line tonight or not, but she has sent this to us and said if we're going to get this on the legislative calendar to be written in, to our private acts as we've done the other ones, then y'all will need to consider this, bringing this up tonight. The resolution just simply saying we're basically empowering the mayor to submit this process back up through the ladders as we always do. So I'll give you a little history of the resolution behind it. I know Don Patton was a member of that commission, Sonny Hall. I don't know, Dana, if you were on the 2000, Gary, yeah. So y'all remember passing that, but somehow it just fell through the cracks, and we're making sure that the process gets, I guess, say, T's crossed and I's dotted. And that's it.
Ben, I know you probably thought about it. Just one question on that. I believe it was last year before, we just paid the local material $20,000+ because they said they've been paying 20 and it's supposed to have been 15. We need to go back after that, or whatever we need to do on that, Buckman is involved in that.
Correct, and it shows you that how things can get lost in translation, and that's probably one of those instances where there wasn't an audit system in place to be able to catch that on a timely manner. I think we've come a long way, over the last couple of years with our, closing the loopholes and building our models, whether it's better audits and checks and balances for them. So this is one of those type of documents that will hopefully get that process.
So you think it might be?
I think they're the only ones, and so far that they've made their correction from their internal side. I don't think we're going to see that again. Rocky, you may have done more investigation in that. But
you covered it good, Mayor. We're drawing 10 cents a ton off of severance tax. The state allows us to draw 15 cents a ton. That's what that resolution's about. 2010, the commission voted to raise it from 10 to 15 cents a ton, and like you said, it fell through the crack.
Okay. Any questions?
Okay, with approval of the minutes. Need a motion? We have a motion by Commissioner Ferguson and a second by Commissioner Melton. Roll call.
Angie Hearn. Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Don Patton. Yes. Ward Plant.
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Rocky Preston, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Norman Frazier, yes. Gary Carr, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Cindy Paul, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Rochelle Hill, absent. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Gerald Hicks, yes. Mary Powell, yes. Anyone like to change their vote? 16 yes. 2 absent.
Next is the report of the public utilities. I need a motion. Motion by Commissioner Patton and a second by Commissioner Powers. Any discussion? Roll call.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Rocky Preston, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Norman Frazier, yes. Gary Carr, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Cindy Paul, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Gerald Hicks, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant.
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change your vote? 16 yes, 2 absent. Motion carries.
Okay, next is resolution number 1, which is to appoint Desmond Zollicoffer to the Tennessee River Resort District Board for a 4-year term set to expire on March 14th, 2025. We have a motion by Dana Ferguson and a second by Mary Powers. Any discussion?
I have a motion to amend by Don Patton. Mr. Patton
Mr. Patton, did you mean to push the amend button?
Do you want to amend that resolution?
No,
Okay,
Never mind. Withdraw.
all right, that's okay. So no other discussion? Roll call?
Diana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Rocky Preston, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Norman Fraser, yes. Barry Fur, yes. Devon Feller, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Rosanna Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Ward Plant.
Yes.
Yes. Don Patton, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 16 yes.
Resolution number 2 is a resolution to appoint Randall Robertson to the Board of Equalization.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I've got a message that Mr. Hopper is on the telephone. Do you want to allow him to answer?
Yes, I think he was trying to zoom in, so something probably wouldn't work.
Mayor Randy Robinson, is that the former school superintendent?
Yes,
It is?
yes, it is, yeah. I may have said Robertson, but it's Robertson.
Mr. Hopper, are you here?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hopper.
Mr. Hopper is in.
Well, that's okay, we can hear you good now. We're on resolution number 2, if you want to catch up with us. It's resolution number 2, and it's number 12 on the agenda.
Okay, I'm there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion by Commissioner Powers and a second by Commissioner Melton. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Diana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Rocky Preston, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Norman Fraser, yes. Barry Fur, yes. Devon Feller, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Rosanna Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper.
Commissioner Hopper?
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Don Patton,
We
yes.
got you, Mr. Hopper.
Ward Plant.
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change your vote? 17 yes.
Motion passes. We're at number 13 on the agenda, which is resolution number 3. A resolution to agree that the maintenance of effort funding for the fiscal year starting July 1, 2021 will be equal to or greater than the maintenance of effort funding for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021 for the Benton County Schools. We have a motion made by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Patton. Commissioner Nunnery, you're recognized.
Yes, bringing this forward, I wrote a letter, or not a letter, but some information that might give you an idea of what this is about, and I'd like to read that to you. Today, we're being asked to consider a resolution that in essence would keep the local portion of the school budget of next fiscal year the same or higher as the current fiscal year. Starting in mid-March of 2020, the world as we knew it was turned on its end. We're still not back to what passed for normal over a year ago. Schools were shut down on March 12th and never opened back up for the remainder of the school year. The district started the current year with a solid safety plan, but still amid fears and high anxiety on how COVID-19 would impact our community by virtue of our schools being open. These issues were further compounded by the anxiety of all of our students in the district and across the country that have felt during the long periods of isolation that they've endured and uncertainty about attending school. I feel that time has shown the district made the right decision to reopen our schools. However, some parents and guardians have made the decision to use virtual or homeschool for their children. This has caused a significant decrease in the district enrollment over the previous year. As the active COVID-19 cases have decreased in our county, the district has seen students begin to return. It's felt that the majority of these virtual and homeschool students will return for the start of next school year in August. If the county were to reduce the funding from previous year, it would almost certainly cause a reduction of teachers. Reducing teachers is never an easy proposition, even outside the impact of the pandemic. Class size and proper endorsements are State Board of Education requirements. For example, a high school English teacher is not allowed to teach a third grade classroom of students. You cannot have 50 kindergarten students in one classroom. Therefore, the district must have teachers in the proper balance to meet these and other requirements to be in compliance with the law. Schools are points of stability in our communities. Children need this stability more than ever. When the decision to reopen schools was made, Benton County teachers came back and worked harder than ever before to prepare lessons for multiple means of delivery. They worked long hours, well past the school day, to put instructional content together to meet the varied needs of their students. It's not been easy, yet despite the uncertainties of their own health, despite the hard hours, despite the frustrations that have led to tears, no one heard our teachers say they would not return or walk out on their students. Our teachers did what they always do, their job. Our teachers were there when the communities needed them, perhaps more than ever before, to be a comfort to our babies, our children, and our future. Let us not abandon our teachers, and by extension, our children, when they need us. I urge you, as I will, to vote for the resolution. It's the right thing to do. Mr. Florence is here tonight, and with the chair's permission, I'm sure he'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Florence, would you care to come forward, please?
I'm here.
Okay. Would you like to make any comments about?
The only thing I think Mr. Dunnery would tell you, I had nothing to do with this resolution. He come to me after a school board meeting, and I told him that the school board did send one to the state legislation in September of 2020, you know, asking them to do the same thing from the state standpoint of maintenance of effort. So I guess good news is Ms. Brasher sent us our early numbers, and we're actually up about $70,000 in property tax and almost $200,000 in sales tax is what, so, you know, that's good news. But obviously, you know, our numbers are not going to make up. We are better. We were like 180 down. We're 126, so that's better.
What kind of money we're talking about, Mr. Clark, on this?
You're basically talking in local about $3,000 a student.
Per student?
Yes.
What happens if the people that decided to homeschool their kids? Did they get any money?
No. I mean, once they choose to homeschool their kids, then they're responsible for their children's education.
They don't get any compensation for that?
No. Now, we do have a few students that chose the virtual route. We have very few elementary left. Most of them homeschooled. That curriculum was very difficult for at home. I mean, we probably have about 60 high school students and very few elementary left on virtual, but about 160 new homeschool students this year.
You know, our funding is tied to the state funding a lot of times. So any word, I know earlier in the year you and I were on the same emails at the time. Is there any indication that the state is going to pull their funding from the previous year? Weren't they going to maintain that particular threshold?
That was in December, the BEP Review Committee, the first thing on their agenda was a maintenance of effort bill. And we're in March, and there's still no talk about it. There is talk at the legislation that they're expecting that if we could use federal funds, And federal funds sometimes have some strings, but I think that's what's holding it up, and I totally understand that as a legislature, not understanding school funding, because the money they're sending to counties and school districts is quite substantial.
And if I may weigh in a little
Sure.
bit here, the spirit of the resolution I like. I mean, we want to support our schools. There's no doubt, and a lot of our funding is tied to the state funding. I think the reason we haven't seen anything out of the state right now is this is the critical week where they actually get through the committees, and next week or the week after they'll go to the floor. Usually around the first week of April, you'll begin seeing the legislation, all the policy that come out of the committees will get to the floor. So it's a little early, and it's just my opinion. I just feel like the resolution probably won't be needed. That we may get to May and realize that we've got a money problem, and the money problem is a good money problem, not a bad money problem. Y'all bank $2 million every year pretty much in the cash reserves. There's not a money problem with the schools, okay? But
I'd like you to explain that bank to me. Are you referring to the local match compared to the maintenance of effort?
I'm saying that you have enough in the reserves to fund the school systems or any deficiencies or whatsoever. Y'all have pulled from that to do these very things.
But you said $2 million.
Well, it's really 3.3 million. But
you're referring to the local match compared to the maintenance of effort, and that's not true. I've got a sheet back there that every district in the state of Tennessee, with the exception of one, their maintenance of effort is quite a bit more than the local match. And the local match does not meet all 45 components for the BP. So using your philosophy, Henry County overfunds their district about $6 million a year. So that's not fair to the commission, because that's really not a true indication of our funding.
Now, our funding, you are able to pull into your reserve to fund your school budget. So should you fall short, you can pull from your unassigned fund balance.
Absolutely.
To be able to fund, which you have plenty of. Okay, so again, this is a budgetary item, and this early in the process, I'm just saying, I just feel like the commission or the budget committee makes better decisions once they know the definites from the processes. And right now, the legislature has not got to the point of stamping their documents. I feel confident that they're going to give you exactly what they gave you in 2020. I have to look at the county side, and it's hand tying a little bit of the county on it very early, I would rather us get some definites out of the way before they make a decision. But that's just my personal opinion. I follow what the commission wants to do.
The resolution is not asking for us to do anything.
May I speak?
Just a minute, yeah.
I've had my request button.
Excuse me.
Well, okay, according to this, Commissioner Preston is next, and then you're next.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We're not looking at what the state does. If the state gives them the same thing that they gave the schools last year, it still doesn't affect whether we give them the same thing or not. The resolution is simply asking that the county maintain the maintenance of effort for 1 year only, regardless of what state does. State may not act on anything. So it is not too early to say we're going to maintain the funding.
Duly noted.
Okay, Commissioner Preston, you are next.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I'll start with about this conversation that I stand opposed to the resolution. Second of all, it's not personal. If anybody tells you it's personal, it's simply not. But I do feel obligated, I feel compelled, I feel a sense of service to look into the schools state dollars and the schools county dollars. And this doesn't mean I won't make a mistake or stick my foot in my mouth, but the BEP dollars, they are the big fish in the pond. The BEP formula is probably the most complicated subject I've ever taken on. There's 46 moving parts within the BEP formula that decides what the state's going to give the individual counties. The interest that I have in the BEP formula is the county side of the numbers, the dollar amounts. I'm interested in the local option sales tax, the property values, the per capita income, personal household income, unemployment, and poverty. With the facts and the numbers that I'm seeing, and some of them I'm going to share with y'all, until someone shows me I'm wrong, somewhere, someone has dropped the ball in the Benton County VE math formula. And I don't mean the school, and I don't mean the county. I mean at the state level. I remind the commissioners, many of us have been convinced, the county is not doing enough for the school. The county should be doing more for the schools. Well, guess what, y'all? That just ain't true. Benton County is really doing a lot, and I'm going to show y'all what they're doing. Before the numbers I'm going to share with y'all, I'm sharing some words found in the User's Guide to Fiscal Capacity Basic Education Program. And this is the formula they use to decide the state how much goes to each county. All counties are not equal in the ability to pay the schools. The state allocates its share of funding in a way that helps even things out. Meaning, if you're a poor county, the state's going to give more money. If you're a wealthy county, they're going to give less money. If a wealthy county can afford to pay more for their schools. Moving on. The information I'm going to provide to y'all come from the Tennessee Advisory Commission, who helped create the VEP formula, and also the State Board of Education. Of the 95 counties in the state of Tennessee, using the most recent numbers available, there are only 21 counties in the state of Tennessee that pays more dollars per child than Benton County. In fact, Benton County paid $3,099 per child. The high tier, the top tier, at the top we got Davison. Below them we got Sevier, that's Gatlinburg, Williamson, Franklin, Oak Ridge, Chattanooga, Bristol. That's the ones at the very top. I'm going to drop down a little bit. Number 10, Knoxville. 12, Shelby County, that's Memphis. 14, Madison, that's Jackson. 17, Rutherford, Murfreesboro. Right below Rutherford and Henry County, drop down to number 22, you find Benton County. Benton County, 22nd in line, paying the most money per child. This information I'm providing y'all right now come to me from the Tennessee Advisory Commission on Intergovernmental Relations. I'm jumping forward. Property values. Found on page 3 of the User's Guide. It reads, the amount of revenue a particular county government can raise with a penny, 1 cent, is used to describe the relative wealth of the state's 95 counties. Benton County, 1 cent is worth $26,519. I'm going to say it again. This penny is used to describe the relative wealth of each county. There are only 16 counties in the state of Tennessee that has less property value than Benton County. 16 counties. We're number 76 in line, 72. And I remind you, we're the 21st highest paying per student of county money of all the counties in the state of Tennessee. Here's some good information. This comes from the Federal Agency Appalachian Regional Commission. There's 3,113 counties in the U.S. Roseanne, if you don't let me tell this now, you're going to read about it in the newspaper.
That's okay. I was going to tell you that your 5 minutes was up, but you can continue for
Thank you.
another minute, okay?
Thank you.
Because I think this is a serious resolution.
Okay. 3,113 counties in the United States. The bottom 10% of these counties make up the economically distressed counties. There is 11 distressed counties in the state of Tennessee. Benton County is only 28 numbers away from being economically distressed. We're in a category that's titled high risk. There's 26 counties at high risk in Benton County. High risk of being economically distressed. Benton County, I remind you, pays $3,099 per child. Of those other 25 counties, you average all of them together, and they pay $1,900 per child. So somebody tell me Benton County don't have a great willingness to pay for their students. Of those 26 Tennessee at-risk counties, the average value of 1 cent of property tax is $48,136. I remind you, ours is $26,857. How can the state expect us to pay so much higher than these other counties? But it's happening. Getting close. Benton County is ranked 76 in population, yet we are ranked 57th in the total county dollars paid to schools. Now, I'm not talking about per child, per student. We paid somewhere around $6.5 million last year to the schools. There are only 53 other counties that paid more money than Benton County did for their entire school system, yet we're 76 in population. We've only got a handful of counties smaller than us. Benton County has 184 teachers. 38 of these teachers the state does not pay for, meaning the county pays for them. The average percent of all 95 counties' teachers not paid for by the state comes out to 9.73. Only 6 counties in the state of Tennessee that has a higher percentage than Benton County of teachers that aren't paid for by the state. I'm not going to name it.
Commissioner Preston, we have someone else that would like to speak to, okay? And you've
I'd
got
like
about
to-
3
I would like to-
minutes.
I'll share him my
I
time
would,
if I could. I'll excuse myself.
That'll have to wait till after I'm finished.
I don't have to wait, but I will.
Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me finish. I think that's an appropriate way to handle it. I have shown y'all facts showing Benton County has a willingness to pay for schools. That willingness is very great. I stand firm against you commissioners denying the budget committee to at least study the possibility of lowering the maintenance of effort for the school. That being said, I've got more to say. It's time that we ask the question. We're paying for a higher quality of education. I've proven that with the numbers right here, everybody. Our students, higher quality of education. Are the students being better prepared for college and life after school? I can't answer that. I think it's time that we ask the school board. I think we should ask the school board, should we show comparisons to other county schools? If our students' college entry exams, ACT or the SAT, shows the students performing better and are more ready for college, then let's keep paying the big dollars. Let's keep paying. That's reason enough to pay $3,100 per child. But at the exams, if they're not being more prepared than the schools around us, the schools that I've been talking about, then we need to sit down and have another conversation. I'm closing on this note. The $1.9 trillion package that just got passed by Congress, $3.8 billion is coming to the state of Tennessee. $1.9 billion of the money coming to the state of Tennessee is being divided up among all the Tennessee county schools. Chairman, one more line. 14 counties with worse economy in the state of Tennessee, worse than us. 14, I'm going to say it again. I remind everybody, we're in line. We're right below Rutherford County in paying dollars per children. We're number 21. I think that shows one wonderful, great willingness to pay for our schools. That being said, Chairman, I'm going to yield the floor, and if somebody's got a question, please fire away.
Commissioner Powers, you're recognized.
Yes, I would like to commend Commissioner Preston for the work that he's done and the research that he's done on this resolution, and for educating the Facebook audience also as well. And I know that the maintenance effort, the BEP formulas are complicated, and I need to be refreshed as to, on the, maintenance of effort. My question is, does the enrollment and the number of students affect the maintenance of effort or the BEP? That is still confusing to me, and I think our Facebook audience would probably like to understand it a little bit more.
Mr. Blanca?
Maintenance of effort, just for an easy explanation, let's just say the county paid $5 million last year. Well, by law, you have to meet that the following year. If you have a drop in enrollment, then you can take whatever that per child expenditure is and drop it. Let's say we lose 100 kids, you could drop it 300,000. So that's about as simple as it gets.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, you say you can drop it, so it's not required.
The only way you can reduce maintenance of effort if you lose students.
Okay. So, do you reduce the amount, or does the
The
state?
county commission.
The county
The state reduces their DEP funds. The county commission, that's up to the county commission.
Okay, and that's based on the number of students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when will we know how many students we're gonna have for the next year?
Probably August, to be honest, but our DEP funds will come out, our first estimate in April, which will be about 130 to 150 students short of what we were funded on last year, which in state funds, that's $700,000 or $800,000.
Okay, so I agree with the mayor that this resolution is premature because we don't know exactly what the fund is going to be, what the pupil enrollment is going to be, and I would like to make a motion that we postpone this to a later date.
We have a motion. Did you want?
Well, Ms. Powers, let's allow the discussion a little bit longer. Let's see if anyone wants to speak on it before you make that, because, and as I said before, I want to ensure that we've got the equal amount of funding as last year too. But I'm thinking that if, once we know numbers, we may have a good, we may be adequately funded from the state assistance or federal assistance. And as Commissioner Preston said, it works inversely. The better we fund, the less the state funds. They look at us as being almost like a wealthy county. So they, like you said, Benton County doesn't need it. Sometimes we set ourselves up. And Commissioner Preston and I have been working to get into the BEP director, pretty much. And we want to invite Director Florence and Chairman Cooper when we do get the invite. Right now, they're not taking a lot of interviews because we want to tell them that we're being penalized for funding so well a lot of times. And we want to see a higher state match. We want to see the state match go up. We'll still continue what we're funding. We've locked ourselves into that. But sometimes we act a little prematurely. It's just my opinion. I believe until we know all the numbers, y'all possibly cannot make the decision you need to make with a duly informed decision. Now, if we pass this tonight and the feds come out through the state and we're overfunded, is the county, by the way your resolution's drawn, is the county still locked into funding its last year's numbers when the school systems may have a better funding element? We don't know that yet. It's like I said, Director Florence says right now, we don't know what strings are going to be assigned to that money, but
the resolution reads, it says the same or more. So if it went up, we would gladly take more.
Commissioner Fowler?
You know, it seems like we're talking about two different things here. We're talking about changing the funding for the county commission. This resolution here is just for the 1 year. It's just like we've spoken about the sales tax and the Amazon tax and things of that nature. It's been a stellar year. but it's because nobody's went nowhere. We've lost children this year, right? If this funding was to change, you know, it might have, would it affect losing teachers or something in the next budget or things of that nature? Or maybe even would it go as far as causing the school to close, Big Sandy, or something of that nature?
I mean, we discussed that in the year of a pandemic.
Teachers is a job.
Right.
I can understand that.
I mean, I think we would probably, the school board would probably step up and make sure, unless those teachers were not going to renew anyway. We're not going to know till August, because our funding is going to be based on this year's numbers, which is 35% basically in September and October, or 30%, and 70% from February and March.
Like I said, it seems like we're trying to talk about two different things here, and all we're asking, it seems like to me, is just carry on for 1 year and see what happens, so we don't lose nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Patton,
I'm with the mayor also. I think it's a little premature.
Chairman, I think everybody needs to be made well aware, if we drop the maintenance of effort this year, the maintenance effort can be increased next year. And an interesting fact I'm going to share with everybody. In 2005, we had 2,504 students. January 21st of this year, we're down to 1,926, I believe, Director. I just want everybody to know what our population has dropped since 2005. That's somewhere around 500 students. I yield the floor.
Mark, will it, but if we don't pass that tonight, is it gonna put you in a hardship between now and say, can we bring it up?
That's up to the
May or
commission.
June?
As I said, I didn't have anything to do with this resolution, but I just asked the chairman to please let me respond to Mr. Freson's comments, because they were a little not based on, as he said, he might be a little lost.
okay.
Stand correct, that's not true.
A little.
Our information is coming from the state board.
President,
Yes,
you're out of
sir.
order. Sit down, please.
What the chairman's
He
saying,
has
what the
he
director's
has
saying is
floor.
not accurate. I'm not gonna sit here and
He has
let
the
him
floor.
tell y'all that I'm ignorant or stupid. It's not fair. I don't
I
like
will
it.
call you out of order if you don't sit down,
You can
please.
call me out of order all you want to.
Mr. Florence has asked to speak, and I gave him permission.
I stand to a point of order. He said something that wasn't true.
Well, after he speaks, then you can speak.
First of all, I've been director for 8 years, and if there's a commissioner sitting tonight that I've come and said that we're not getting enough funding from you as a commission and not thanked you for what you do, I'd like for you to come tell me. To my knowledge, in 8 years or 13 before me with Mr. Robertson, there's never been a tax increase. Now, Mr. Preston's sitting here, and we are very thankful to the way the commission funds our schools. But if I would love for you, I'm here, I've been called out all night, so if you'd like to tell me that I've ever come to you and said that you're not supporting our schools and totally funding, I wish you would say that, because I never have. Number two, and Ms. Powers brought up Facebook, and I love our community schools. If you go around, there's not a county in the state that has 7 schools with 1,900 students. There's 38 teachers at Holiday and Big Sandy combined. So if you want to know why our maintenance of effort's so high, we chose over the years to support community schools, which I commend this commission on doing. But it costs a whole lot to operate 7 schools. You're not just talking about kids. And so if you want to spend less than you as a commission, then that's something that you could look into, but I sure would not be in favor of that. Those community schools are essential to our population. If we were raising taxes every year and our property taxes were going out the roof, then yes, that would be a hard decision that you and the school board would have to start looking at. But for Mr. Preston to compare us to Rutherford County, you can't compare. That's apples to oranges, folks. You've got 7 schools and 1,900 students. So you do the BEP math, there's 24 teachers at Big Sandy and 14 at Holiday. And you can eliminate those and not have to hire them anymore. That's not what I want to do. So you talking about going out on Facebook and letting the community know where we're at. We've supported those community schools for years and years. We've not raised taxes in this county in 20 years for schools. And for Mr. Preston to say that we're not appreciative of the funding we've received. I mean, I've asked you, there's 18 of you, have I ever come to any of you and said, I mean, for those of you who just want to know, I get an email about 3 times a week from the State Department where Mr. Preston's called checking on me. I don't call CTAS and check on y'all. And I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Preston. I work for the school board. I don't work for you. And Mr. Melton, Mayor Lashley, Chairman Ward, if you want to know something about the schools, I'm here. I don't know that I'm going to have to answer any more questions from Mr. Preston because he talked about it with the personal. He put an article in the paper last December about my mom and dad. As I told him in August, I'm a big boy. I can handle anything. But you're not going to talk about my family, and you're sure not going to talk about our school district that bust their can, that you're the very one in August that stood up and said, we don't have a plan. I think we've been in person more than any district in West Tennessee. And we have a lot to be proud of. But personal attacks on our school system, to sit here and say what he said is just not true. And are we 20th? Have I ever said we're not in the top 20 in funding? I've told you exactly why we're in the top 20 in funding. That's your decision. It's not the school board's. I told the school board when I started 8 years ago, that school board supports those county schools. We'll continue to support them. But you as a county commission, if you want to listen to Mr. Preston, well, your first thing to do is start talking consolidation. And I totally don't think we're there yet. And I just don't understand where this is coming from because we hadn't had, if we were raising taxes and our taxes, we don't pay enough taxes. I live here. I have a friend that moved to Kansas City and he said his taxes were almost twice and he went to the schools and said, man, it's worth it. Yeah, we have bad test years. Mr. Preston, he calls Mary Ann Dursky 2 or 3 times a week checking on what kind of job I'm doing. Folks, come on. I have 12 school board members that evaluate me every year by law. It's public. It's above average every year. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't give myself that high rating. But we need to get off this circus. I mean, we need to work together. And Mr. Preston, from the day 2 years ago, has been personally attacking Mark. Mark can handle it, but the school system shouldn't have to put up with it. And I'm sorry, Mr. Preston, Chairman Ward, but I'm just passionate about our school system. And you need to know the facts about funding. There's no question we're in the top 20. But the reason we're in the top 20 is because we're supporting 7 schools. Just to give you an example, Henry County has 5 schools and almost 4,000 students. That just puts you in perspective. So I'll be glad to answer any more questions with the exception of Mr. Preston unless the chairman tells me to.
Commissioner Ferguson, you're recognized.
I'd say let's vote on this. This bickering back and forth has got to stop. And let's vote on this.
I would like to respond, Chairman, to what was said about me.
You have 1 minute, Mr.
Yes,
President, because you've already
Mr.
spoke
Director,
10 minutes
you got a
tonight.
choice of one or 2 choices to make. You can either become a better man or everybody's going to vote against you.
No, I'm sorry, out of
All right.
order, out of
I want him removed.
Mr. Preston.
Mr. Preston, you're out of order.
You
do not talk
I've
to
had enough.
anybody like that.
Mr. Preston, you're out of the meeting tonight.
Mr. Preston, please get back here to the building.
I've got some good points I can share with y'all.
You have nothing.
You're out of order.
You have any questions? And I wouldn't walk away from the commission.
I'm not sure where you holler to.
No, you have done excellent.
I agree.
I want to say something. Both of these men have a right to speak what they want to say. And the other one should respect what they're saying. And we're all adults here. And I don't think anybody ought to be removed He was voted into this commission just like everybody else. And he has a right to say anything that he wants to say. And we can all be respectful to each other and act like adults. Let's vote. We're on Facebook.
Ms. Collins, that's more reason for us not to have a commissioner in here criticizing our school director to his face. That is called censure, and we do not
Criticizing to the face is better than criticizing behind
We're
the
not
back.
going to criticize anybody in this commission. We're not going to call anybody names. And that's my ruling, and I ruled that he's out of order and that he should leave the meeting tonight. Because I heard exactly what he said to Mr. Thomas.
Would you repeat that, please?
You turned around to him and you said something about he needs to be a better man. A better man.
I said if you got a choice to make,
No.
you can become a better man, or everybody in this county is gonna know you the way I know you.
No.
I know a lot of stuff that hadn't been talked about on this
He needs to
floor.
become a better man.
Can I
I've
tell?
made my ruling, and that's it, okay? We're gonna go on with the meeting. Mr. President, if you wanna sit there, you can, but you do not get to vote anymore tonight.
Including this.
So because
resolution?
that's right, you don't get to vote.
Roseanne, I believe that's the wrong way to do a commissioner.
I don't think that it's right for
He did the
commissioners
same
to
thing that he
criticize
done, he brought
anybody
the
in
address
their
to
open
them,
meeting either.
and he just answered his questions, all he done.
Okay, let's go on. We have a motion and a second. Do we have anyone else?
Are you taking out, Mr. President, I will vote this?
Mr. Chair, I want to put on record that I'm protesting your decision.
That's fine. Okay.
I'll just make one comment. There's not a funding problem from the budget side with their schools. There's not a funding problem. They're going to get at least what they got last year.
I'd like to.
And I will say, the next year is going to be their critical year. And something we all need to be cognizant of is the state will not let them be harmed due to COVID this year. Okay, they're going to give them what they gave them in 2020. But next year, they're probably going to make an adjustment. And there's going to be some challenges from the school system side. So we need to keep that in mind. Next year will be a lot bigger challenge funding-wise than it's going to be this year. So I just want that to be true.
Point of order.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like you to take a vote from the commission, whether he can vote back, that's his privilege, when this comes to direct like this.
I don't have to do that, Mr.
Yeah,
Plain.
you better read the book, ma'am. It says anytime there's a doubt, if you throw somebody out, the commission is the one who votes to either let him in or come out, either one. I promise you it's in there. And I'm not trying to challenge you, I'm just telling you what the book says. You take a vote on the commission, and they will vote whether he leave or you sustain is in order or not.
You're right, Ward.
I know it is.
Okay. Does anyone want to make that motion?
I make that motion. That we
I
vote.
say let's vote on this one and then bring in another one.
I mean, it's the proper way to do it. It's that way, this commission feels that it was wrong,
Let's vote
they'll vote
this
no
one
or yes either
first.
one.
We have a motion and a
Okay.
second on the floor.
That's right. We already had a motion and a second first to vote on the resolution.
Well, but he ain't gonna get to vote on it.
No, he doesn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it ain't wrong. You need to take a vote and see if he's cleared, and then go back to your regular business. If they vote him down, he don't vote.
After we have a roll call vote.
Well, you're gonna
we'll
knock
do
him
that.
out of voting on this.
Yes.
Roseanne, you know that's not right.
I have never seen them.
You don't do that.
What's
You-
that?
I said I have never seen them vote on it, the chairman's rules.
But Lily, it's in the book. I've read it enough that I know. And if you open your book, you'll see where it says, anytime of doubt, if I remove somebody's chairman, the commission can overrule the chairman on a vote to come back to put it back. And that's in there, black and white.
Well,
I'm just telling you it's in there. It's in your book. You ought to have your book.
Well, I think it's also call of the chairman to rule if he's out of order or not.
It is. But when the chairman rules, and if it's from the come back to commission votes,
We're gonna,
Votes on
we're gonna go ahead and, we're
proper
gonna
to
go
take him
ahead
out
and
of a
vote on
vote.
this resolution like I said. Okay, because.
You go right ahead. I challenge you.
Dana Ferguson, or vote, I'm sorry.
It's not a, yes.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller,
What are we
yes.
voting on?
Leo Dye, yes. Norman Frazier,
He's absent.
Gary Farr, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Phil Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, no. Mary Powers.
What are we voting on?
We're voting on resolution number 4, which is the resolution that we just had the discussion about. Yeah, resolution 3, I'm sorry. Mary Powers,
I'm gonna wait till
Oh, she said
3
that.
seconds. Anyone wish to change?
You didn't do
Oh, Angie Hearn,
I passed in the conflict.
Abstain.
So you abstained, okay.
Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
I pass.
Am I going to change that?
anybody wish to change their vote? 11 yes, 1 no, 3 abstain, and 3 absent.
My motion passed.
Passes with 10 votes.
As again. Motion passed, resolution 4.
Do we have a second on Mr. Plant's motion? Do we have a second on those?
Chairman, do you want to allow Mr. President to continue to vote or just stop?
Roseanne, this is money, it should take 12 votes. It's
It's
2/3.
not, it's not money.
It ain't, it's $600-something.
It's not money. We're not approving money.
Mayor, how much money is it?
We're not approving money.
It's not an appropriation.
Huh?
Not.
Appropriation.
It's $600-something, I don't call it ain't money.
Money's not being appropriated.
Yeah, not until the budget's probably presented.
It's $600-something, what's it doing? I think that'd be not.
Can I have a
Money.
question?
You have a motion on the
Recess.
floor, Mr. Plant. Mr. Plant, do you still want to?
I'm gonna leave that up to
your motion?
you. I asked for it to be done, but that's a motion to
That
vote
we
it back
vote
in,
on.
to vote it back.
Mr. Preston, okay. There's a motion on the floor to take a vote to see if we want to allow Mr. Preston back in the meeting.
I second.
Hold on.
What's the motion for?
If you want to allow Mr. Preston back in the meeting, because he's been called out of order and out of the meeting.
Okay, so now I need a second, motion and a second to allow Mr. President into the meeting.
Yeah.
Mr. Ward.
I
Mr.
second.
Plant made the motion and Ms. Powers.
Seconded.
Okay, well, I've got Powers and Ms. Dye. You want me to change that?
Yes, because it's Ms. Powers.
Okay. Mr. Plant and Mrs. Powers.
Yes.
And what this is just allowing him to be back in able to vote.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yeah, what happened to Norman?
He left. He removed himself from the meeting. Told him to be back.
Do we need to take a recess? And let everybody cool off?
That's what I was gonna suggest.
Yes, we have a
Recess.
motion and a second right now, so we need to vote before we take a recess, okay? Okay, there's no one else, asking to speak, so roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, no. Kenneth Miller, yes. Rocky Preston, Lady Di, yes. Gary Farr, abstain. Dwayne Fowler, no. Sonny Hall, abstain. Phil Melton, no. Mike Nunnery, no. Roseanne Ward, abstain. Darrell Hicks,
Pass.
I pass.
Okay,
Yeah, it's abstaining is a pass, I mean.
it's passing.
Ronnie Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn,
yes.
You want to change your vote?
Okay, so this goes back to our thing about the abstain versus passes. None of you have a legit reason to abstain, so your abstains are going to be no's. That's just the way it works, so I don't think it's going to pass. I have to change your abstains to no's. There you go.
7 yes,
7
7 no, 1 abstain.
No, that one abstain would be a no. So it fails.
Failed.
It failed. Mr. Ward, I want you to know that, I accepted what you asked for us to do, and I allowed the commission to vote on it, okay?
Thank you.
And they voted no.
That's what it said, black and white, just read it yourself.
Okay, that's fine, that's what we did. And I hope that pleases you.
Now, how did it
Yeah.
fall? I mean, he ain't got 10 votes. You only had 7, but it tied?
No.
7 to 8.
Well, it failed.
7 and 8.
Chairman,
Okay, yes.
thank you, everybody. It's been fun. I got a long way to drive. I'm gonna go ahead and leave.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Okay, let's move on. Oh, yes, that's right. We're going to recess. For 10-minute recess. 10-minute recess.
I just got to move. Lots of.
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear Chief talking to someone for the name, I'm sorry. Did you hear me wrong? Yeah, Chief.
I just want to get going on that, and I think it's, we should let Rocky back in. This is not good. This is not good. This is not good. I don't
They find anything out about the store? Did you have electricity? Why would the BPU be walking around the house there in the yard? The BPU was electric company. Yeah, the other day when I come by, it was park there and like, like walking around?
Oh, that's nice.
Okay.
He was there with me today.
No, it was about a week ago. Is it like a company truck? Pickup truck? When I was on the way home, I always look at the store because I like it. I don't remember. It was in the evening. It might have been one of
And it may have been him. I need to find out because there wasn't, I mean, there's no electricity whatsoever.
Well, I didn't figure that one was.
But as soon as he has lots of relationships, I mean, I even called him and my husband was going to go there and to back up the store and, you know, my mom's face.
Yeah, I didn't realize she lived there. That was one of those buildings that the county stole. I always liked it. I've always wanted to go in there and look around. I mean, I know it's old and
She's not right in. I mean, she's not as wrong. She's not as wrong as that.
I lived in the Rose Park, 2-bedroom.
I back you. I just, we need to stop that one because they way too much water now for that one too.
Darryl, you need to turn that thing over, dude. Cause she been growing you. Nah. Right
Right, that's what this one is.
I mean, that was implications for the way I
But we're doing it again like
That's
That's personal.
Everybody looks at this, it's wonderful. Nobody sees this, we keep
Way to go.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of, what he's talking about, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But they want to know, they know what the city has well, if you
All right, 1 minute.
I never can tell. We've got 1 minute remaining, everybody. I spoke too soon about the meeting. Yeah, I know it. Sure did. We're going to do it. Meetings fall back to order. Okay, the next resolution is resolution number 4, which we all know that the mayor has pulled that resolution. So we're going to move on to resolution number 5.
Four has been pulled.
Yes. Yes.
I would like to bring up, Article 3 procedure, that this meeting be adjourned because the one, commissioner has been dismissed from this meeting, and that gives us an unfair advantage, and I would like to have it, I'd like to have this meeting adjourned. And I think you have to give us a roll call vote on that.
Are you making that in a motion?
Yes.
What was the reason?
We haven't done a second yet. Mr. Hopper made a motion that we adjourn the meeting because it's, I think he said it's not fair because we have one commissioner that has left. Mr. Hopper, Mr. Preston also said that he was going back to work and he had a long drive.
Well, I just don't think this meeting should proceed. It's just not fair now.
Okay, we've got a motion. Does anybody want to second a motion that we adjourn?
What was that?
Mr. Hopper made a motion that we adjourn.
Now, I think we need to finish the business.
Okay, so do we have a second? Mr. Hopper, we don't have a second on that motion.
I don't think you have to have a second on that. I think that's,
Well, we can't do a roll call vote if we don't have a second on the motion. So we're gonna move on with the meeting, okay? All right, we're at resolution number 5, which is line item number 15 on our agenda. We have a motion by, let me read it first. Resolution transferring funds in the amount of $8,000 within the Sheriff's Department budget. We have a motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Patton. Commissioner Ferguson, you recognize?
Recommended by budget.
Was recommended by budget. Any other? Roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller? Yes. Leah Dye, yes. Gary Fur, yes. Dwayne Feller, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Henry, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Peach, yes. Ron Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearns?
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant?
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Number 16 on the agenda, which is resolution number 6. Resolution transferring funds in the amount of $9,323.54 within the animal shelter budget. We have a motion by Commissioner Patton and a second by Commissioner Ferguson. Commissioner Ferguson, you recognize?
Recommended by budget.
Was recommended by budget. Roll call.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Gary Fur? Yes. Dwayne Feller, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Henry, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Peach, yes. Ron Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn?
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant?
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Number 17 on the agenda, which is resolution number 7. Resolution transferring funds in the amount of $61,660 within the school's budget in order to pay the county debt service fund, the ESSI loan payments for the fiscal year. We have a motion by Commissioner Ferguson and a second by Commissioner Patton. Commissioner Ferguson?
It was recommended by budget.
Roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Clay Dye, yes. Gary Carter, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sunny Hogg, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, no. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion, carries 14 yes and 1 no.
Number 18 on the agenda, resolution budgeting funds in the amount of $61,660 received from the schools within the county debt service fund in order to pay the ESSI loan payments for the fiscal year. I have a motion by Commissioner Patton and a second by Commissioner Ferguson. Commissioner Ferguson?
It was recommended by budget. Do you want to explain?
The resolution 7 was transferring funds, so that we transfer to the county debt service, and 8 is to transfer them out to pay the loan, principal and interest on the ESSI loan, I believe it was.
Roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Rocky Leah Dye, yes. Gary Farr, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sunny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, no. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? 14 yes, 1 no.
Number 19 on the agenda, resolution budgeting funds in the amount of $4,250 received from the city of Camden for the quarterly allocation within the library budget. I have a second by Commissioner Patton and a motion by Commissioner Patton and a second by Commissioner Melton. Commissioner Ferguson?
It was recommended by budget.
Okay, roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Gary Farr, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sunny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? 15 yes. Motion passes.
Number 20 on the agenda, resolution budgeting funds received in the amount of $53,965.65 from the state of Tennessee for the diabetes health grant within the public health and welfare projects within the capital project fund. I have a motion by Commissioner Patton and a second by Commissioner Ferguson. Commissioner Ferguson?
Recommended by budget.
Roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Gary Farr, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sunny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Number 21 on the agenda, resolution budgeting funds in the amount of $2,110 from revenues collected during the months of January and February within the animal shelter budget. I have a motion by Commissioner Patton, a second by Commissioner Ferguson. Commissioner Ferguson?
Recommended by budget.
Roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Gary Farr, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sunny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward,
Yes.
yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, yes. yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Number 22 on the agenda, resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $2,396.73 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to cover the years of service / step raises for 2 county employees. I have a motion by Commissioner Patton and a second by Commissioner Melton. Commissioner Ferguson?
It was recommended by budget, and this is new money.
Okay, so this takes 2/3 votes. Roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dyke, yes. Gary Fur,
Yes.
Gary Fur, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Number 23, resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $14,000 and $14,400 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to cover the county attorney legal fees for the remainder of the fiscal year.
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Ferguson. Commissioner Ferguson?
It was recommended by budget.
Okay. Roll call, please.
And new money.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dyke, yes. Gary Fur, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Number 24, resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $1,066.54 from the General Sessions Court Reserve Account in order to purchase the assistant to the judge a new upgraded computer and software. I have a motion by Commissioner Patton and a second by Commissioner Melton. Commissioner Ferguson?
Budget recommended, and this is new money.
Roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dyke, yes. Gary Fur, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Number 25, resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $100,000 from the unassigned fund balance within Fund 128 TRRD Board in order to cover the contribution expenses for the upcoming events for the remainder of the fiscal year. I have a motion by Commissioner Patton and a second by Commissioner Ferguson. Excuse me. Commissioner Ferguson?
Recommended by budget and new money.
I would like to state that this is TRRD's money.
Commissioner Fowler?
She just covered it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dyke, yes. Gary Fur, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward,
Yes.
yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Next on the agenda is appointing of notaries. We have 7 notaries. The names are Amy Ballard, Amanda Butcher, Sandra Farmer, Stephanie Harselow, Amy Hockman, Shelley Pinson, and Eric Sellers. We have a motion by Commissioner Patton and a second by Commissioner Melton. Roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Gary Fur, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Phil Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant.
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
We have a resolution that was added to our packet later, so, if you choose to bring this up, we need to suspend the rules.
And which one's that?
Resolution 16.
I'll make a motion to suspend.
Okay.
Second.
Who made the second?
There you go.
Sonny
Now,
and Darrell.
We'll have Sonny and Darrell, press the button to motion and second for the suspension of the rules.
I think they're on the line.
About this resolution. We need a roll call vote, please, to suspend the rules.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Gary Fur, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Phil Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, no. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant.
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries.
Okay, now, resolution number 16. The resolution is to increase the mineral severance tax for Benton County to 15 cents per ton, was voted on and approved unanimously by the full legislative body on July 19th, 2010. I'm not going to read all this. Does anybody have any questions? We have Donna Barrett on the line. If anybody has any questions at all for her? Yes. It was added to our packet tonight. That's why we had to suspend the rules.
Maybe won't you explain that real quick?
I tell you what, I'll ask the mayor to explain that a little bit so you can hear him, okay?
Ronnie, can you hear me okay?
Can you hear the mayor? Okay, now.
Hey, Ronnie, what happened was, the mineral severance tax issue that we've been kind of addressing for the past year and a half. What this does is we dropped the ball, I think, maybe back as far back as 2010. I don't know what the issue was back then, but in order to get it on the legislative docket, we've got to get it up there this week. And so it's basically a change to the private act. And Ms. Barrett had sent us the request to ensure that we address this tonight in order to get it written into our private act, as we've been trying to collect on this for quite some time. And so this is basically just either closing a loophole or dotting an I or crossing a T that had not been done previously, and we don't know why. 11 years ago, we don't know why it wasn't addressed at that time. The county commission in 2010 actually passed this unanimously. And so this request that we're asking is simply to say, to give our revenue analysts the okay to go ahead and push it through the legislative channel. So, it's not new money. I guess you can say it's a lot of old money possibly, but this is so that we can get it through and submit it to the legislature.
Okay. No other discussion, roll call please.
Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Gary Fur, yes. Dwayne Fowler, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Darrell Hicks, yes. Ronnie Hopper, yes. Mary Powers, yes. Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Angie Hearn, yes. Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant.
Yes.
Ward Plant, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Okay, is there any other commissioner got anything you want to say?
Is this other business?
Yes.
Yes, I would like to ask the body to suspend the ruling on 03 on that, till we get further knowledge on it. I think that we, on the school, on the severance tax.
Resolution.
I think it was done improperly because it is capital money. It is money that's beyond the budget. It's gonna tie your budget up for years or whatever when you do that. I think it has to be a 2/3 vote, and I'm almost positive that.
It is not new money.
Well, I mean, you're gonna
not
tie your money
appropriating
up.
new
You know?
money. You're all you're doing is tying up the same money you tied up last year. It not cost you one penny more.
It's $600,000 that you're not gonna be using that budget once you do that. So it's a 2/3 vote. I'd like to ask the attorney to check on it, get his rules, we could do that.
You want him to check on that tonight?
I think he should, whatever he needs to do, but I just know it takes 2/3 when it comes up, because you're actually taking your account and you tied it up for that time.
My issue is just a timing issue. I feel like maybe these decisions are better made in the month of May, once our budget starts showing up. But I would also say that Commissioner Nunnery could ask to rescind this later on down the line. It passed unanimously, and I believe that the body is fully in support of it. And I believe that's probably, since they passed it, is the best way to go. My only suggestion was that, hey, I'm not against doing this, just doing it at the appropriate time.
But I want it done right. I mean, whatever it is, it's the proper way to do it, that's all I ask. I'm for it. I mean, personally, when the time, if they need it. I know years ago, we had a thing go out here with 11 votes to approve the budget, and then it takes 12. And like I said, all the attorneys.
Did everyone hear his motion? Do we have a second? I just asked. Okay, we have no second on that.
Right. Just be noted, please, in the minutes.
Okay,
I
the
don't
mayor,
see,
the
I
mayor
don't
says
see
he's
it.
got a few,
See it on
remarks.
our thing to second it.
Nobody said.
Does anybody want a second? If you do want a second, we'll type it in as to where you can officially do it.
Oh, then I second it.
Okay, so just hold on one minute then. So this is going to be resolution number what, 17?
03, I believe.
No, our next one
Oh, sorry.
would be
Is
17.
he on the winning side
What one's that?
What's that matter?
on resolution 3?
No, he voted no.
Then you can't bring it up.
It's the recall resolution number 3. No,
Didn't you vote no?
he made a motion to.
Did you vote no on that?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't bring it up.
Yeah, well then,
Voted no.
can't bring it up. You have to be on the,
I was under the understanding he was making a motion to get the attorney to look at it.
no, he was going to make a motion that we rescind that
Oh.
To
resolution.
the attorney, let him look at it. I just don't think it's.
See,
You don't need a resolution for that.
We don't need a resolution
That's-
for that.
that's what I was
Well,
wondering.
I mean, right now, it's a defective deal. If it ain't right, what do you do? If he looks
Then
at it.
we can correct it next month. If he comes back with a ruling on that, then we can correct it.
You want to look at that? I will.
Okay?
That was my point.
Yes.
We was voting on something he wasn't talking about.
Y'all do resolution.
Whatever happened to resolution 4?
It was pulled by the mayor.
Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you.
Do you still want to
I'd like
stand
the
by
attorney look at it. I think
by
it's-
your motion though? You made a motion that you wanted to rescind that
Well,
resolution.
suspended or whatever it took to let him look at it.
Well, he can look at it without us doing that. We don't have to have a motion for that.
There's two different things.
Yeah,
right?
we can ask him to do that, and that's what he's our attorney for. He can look into that and come back with an answer next month.
We don't get no money till that time.
Okay, well, I don't think that you had the right to make that motion because you were on the opposing side. So we're gonna move on now and let the
How would
mayor
I
make
be
his
on
comment.
the other side? I mean, how would I? How do you know
You
which
have to be
side
on-
you'd be on? Why could it be
Well, you
those?
voted no. I think that's opposing, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, the mayor?
I was gonna say, you know, if, you can always ask to rescind it later, you know. Like I said, the resolution, the spirit is the right spirit. I believe it'll work itself out, and I believe in one more meeting, y'all are probably gonna know a lot more information, especially once it gets to Chairman Melton, with the Budget Committee. I hope we have really good news coming forward from our from a funding perspective of things. Just wanna give y'all a quick, our property taxes, I had the trustee check where we stood last year at this time to today, this Monday. She ran a check. We're 1% lower than we were last year as far as the amount of payers into the system. But all things given equal, we're still ahead roughly $40,000 in collections. And once that 1% gets, all things equal, it will basically be $120,000 ahead of last. So that tells you the growth of the construction in the county is working. We've got investment in the county. The property taxes are going up. If our delinquency rate was one of the lowest delinquency rates we've probably ever had last year, if that continues into this year, property tax collections are going to amount up to, well over $200,000-300,000 in addition to what we were all things equal last year. So good news when it comes to our property valuations and the property taxes being paid. I want to make a quick note on the county attorney. I know that a lot of people did not understand that particular resolution, why we were asking for more money. As y'all know, we've got multiple lawsuits on us, and the expenses incurred. Attorneys don't work for free, just like an accountant doesn't, or anyone else that works in that line of work. So, we projected ahead what it would take to get us through the end of this fiscal year. So there was nothing out of the ordinary. It's just that, governments are targets for lawsuits, and that's what we're seeing. And I'm thankful that we've got a very adequate and competent county attorney. I think he's done a great job. But I just wanted to clarify that, because I know that there was some questions about having to fund him through the end of the year. The TRRD appropriation, I know a lot of folks did not understand that, but TRRD did not request their funding at the beginning of the year. They didn't know if COVID was going to impact events and whether they needed to over request money. So the fact that we're kind of giving them their money, I don't know if I've sent that out, but roughly they're funding all of the events through the spring, and there was nothing out of the ordinary on that. I want to make also special note, our weather ambassador, Mr. Ben Richardson, give him a shout out. He's done an excellent job keeping our EMA page, our weather pages updated. He wanted me to convey that there is very threatening weather that we're going to be looking at tomorrow evening and into Wednesday. So he just wants the community to be cognizant. Our code red system, we ran a check on it. It was successful. Scott can talk more about that, but it was a very successful response. We're looking at probably trying to get some more weather radars via a grant to put out at our airport. Henry County Airport, I understand, is down with their weather system. So again, the more we can alert our citizens and be aware of threatening weather, the better. But we are looking into that, and I think we'll be making an announcement very soon with the National Weather Service coming up here and issuing us our Storm Ready Community designation. And y'all need to be proud of yourselves. Y'all voted on Code Red. You've supported EMA. You've supported these initiatives to become a more informed and alert community. And I think we're starting to see the fruits of your labor and, of course, EMA's labor and all those involved. So, again, a shout out to Ben Richardson and our weather spotters. I know Brad Ferrier is another one that stays active, but I think we're a safer community as a result of their involvement and efforts.
Can you name some of the events you've got with TRD coming up?
We've got two crappie thons. Right now we have funded the Spring Festival, but again, we're waiting on whether they're going to have it. I mean, that's kind of a last-minute decision that they'll make. Unfortunately, the Fiddlers Contest was canceled. We just got through Fishing University, the second year in a row. That will be on national television later in the year. And I know as far as, Legends Cruisers are still, I believe, funded. Multiple spring events. And again, we've got our tourism director. I'll have her maybe give us an update next month as to what events are upcoming and to possibly give y'all like a quarterly report on what's happening with tourism. So we got a TRRD member here in the
Bo's extravaganza.
yeah, the Bo Extravaganza. We'll call him Bo Duke, whatever. John Snyder, his event's coming up this spring as well.
Okay, Wanda, so I was gonna say Kendall, but Wanda, has asked to speak.
Angie had brought up earlier about why was it not in roll call like it used to for each month. Well, that's because next month when we go all in session, it's everybody votes at one time. There won't be a certain way you do roll call. I just wanted it brought to everybody's attention, like when we come back in next month, everybody will vote at the same time. So I'm having to call out all the roll calls just because we're low, well, just because of the state being pandemic, that I have to call that out. But it will stay like that because there won't be any certain roll call and be like that all the time, but you'll automatically have it on there. And I won't be calling that out, I believe. Is that right, Roseanne, the next month?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Commissioner Hall?
The director of the TRRD board, what do they get paid?
Nothing. TRRD board is funded through the county with volunteer work. Sorry, Roseanne.
That's okay.
I didn't know, I just wanted.
Okay, because she's a member, so that's why. I just
Roseanne
let
was
her
there
go ahead
last
and
month, there
speak.
was several of you there, and I would like to say thank you for being there. The questions, the more people we have, the better. Get the community involved. We meet once a month. There is some paperwork to do, Mike and I do, emails, minutes. It's enjoyable. The fishing tournaments have been huge.
What week do you all meet?
Last Monday.
Last month.
5:30.
I will say that was my first meeting to go to. It was very interesting.
It is.
I learned quite a bit that I didn't know. Just being there.
And TRRD, for those that weren't at the meeting, this is money that normally would go to the state and be retained by the state of Tennessee. It's not part of our local option sales tax. It's part of that 7% that we pay in. And so normally that money would have gone to the state of Tennessee and been distributed, whatever. But by law and statute, they have to return a particular factor back to Benton County solely for tourism opportunities. And that builds our local option sales tax, which puts more money into our financial fund. So we're one of the few counties that get that privilege of doing that. I'll say that the late Representative Butch Borchert was really instrumental in getting that passed when he was in office. So really a great benefit to Benton County and our citizens.
It's my understanding that if you don't initiate it, you don't get it.
Correct.
So if there's 5 Mondays in a month,
It'll be the 4th.
it'll be the 4th.
Okay, I've got one last thing I want to say, and it's something about the way the meeting went tonight. If you remember last month at the beginning of the meeting, my remarks were that we did not need to make jokes about each other or make remarks about each other, that we needed to be, more respectful and not say anything like that as to what happened tonight. And I just want, you to remember that I said that last month. And so another thing is, in our rules of order, Mr. Ward brought up the rules of order. Well, I'm reading here on page 5, all of you can read it. It says plainly, when any member desires to speak in debate, discussion, or deliver any address on any subject whatsoever to the commission, the member shall rise and respectfully address the chairperson and shall, after being recognized by the chairperson, proceed with the intended remarks, confining remarks strictly to the question under debate and avoiding any language which would constitute a personal attack. No member of the legislative body shall speak longer than 5 minutes. I think tonight, I let Mr. Bresson speak 10 minutes, and probably over that. I did time him over 10 minutes. So I feel like I gave him plenty of time to speak tonight. I just wanted to say that. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a comment. When we press the request to speak button, I know that we don't know how many is ahead of us. You know, so, you know, like tonight Dana spoke out. I didn't know whether she had requested, push the button to speak or what, but that seems to be troubling to me.
Okay. On my screen, it goes in order. Whoever pushes the button, it rotates number 1, 2, and 3. So that's how I ask or recognize the commissioner according to when they hit their button. It goes in order. But it also shows you up here on the screen, Ms. Powers.
Okay.
If you want to look at
Yeah,
it.
I'll do that.
Okay. You can see where you're at in line.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
You're doing a good job, Roseanne. It's just a contrary job to have, I'm afraid to have to take a gamble on somebody, but that's just what it is.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Okay.
And a second? Okay, we got several seconds. Okay, the meeting is adjourned.
Don't get a vote for it.
We got a vote.
All in favor say aye.
Ah, yes.
Adjourn. Well, okay, are you adjourning? Yes. I want to turn it off.
Turn this thing there.
At least they're all happy.
Everybody get on.
So we can turn them off now?
Yeah.
You can all turn them off now. Good.